How did one cruel confession at a family birthday dinner end with me getting served papers in a bright public lobby? Why did my husband stay calm, walk out, and let the legal results speak for him instead of fighting me? I thought I could control the story, but the outcome landed in my hands and everyone watched. My name is Melisande Harker, and people call me Mel because my full name sounds like a mistake. I was 34 then. I worked as a marketing coordinator for a dental supply company, which meant I spent my days writing cheerful posts about clean smiles, while my own life felt dull. Graham was my husband. He was 36 and worked as a building inspector for the city. He liked rules and lists. He liked quiet mornings. He liked to fix things the right way. I used to say that was stability. Later, I started calling it cold. That week started like many others, with the kitchen lights too bright and my phone already buzzing. Graham made coffee without speaking much. He set 2 mugs on the counter, one near him and one near me, like a habit he did not want to admit. Then he rinsed his mug right away and left mine sitting there. I noticed that. I told myself it was passive aggression. He asked if I wanted eggs. I said I was not hungry. He asked if I slept okay. I said I slept fine. He asked what time I would be home. I said I had a late meeting. It was not true, but it sounded normal. Lila came down the stairs with her hair messy and her backpack half open. She was 9. She asked if Dad could do her hair. Graham said he could. I watched him tie her hair in a neat way. He did it with care. That made me feel something sharp. I told myself I felt proud. I did not. When he bent to tie her shoes, I saw his phone on the counter. The screen lit up with a calendar reminder. It flashed fast, and I only caught part of it. It said something like, Riverside, 10:40 a.m. He turned the phone over right away. I asked what that was. He said it was just a reminder. I asked for what. He said for a personal errand. He asked why it mattered. I said it did not, but I said it with a tone that made it matter. He did not argue. He just nodded once, like he was saving energy. After school drop-off, I stayed in the driveway longer than I needed. Graham's car was already pointed toward the street, like he was ready to leave fast. I told myself he was trying to get away from me. I ignored the idea that maybe I was hard to be around. On the way to work, I practiced my story in my head. I told myself I was a loyal wife who carried the whole emotional weight in the house. I told myself Graham did not notice me. I told myself I was allowed to seek warmth somewhere else, because marriage should not feel like being unseen. At the office, I sat at my desk and stared at my inbox. My job was normal, but I liked the part where people praised my ideas. I liked being told I was smart and quick. Graham rarely praised. He would say something like, he appreciated what I did, and then he would go back to his checklist. That felt small to me. Marin texted me around noon. She asked if I wanted to meet at the co-working cafe near the river after work. I said yes. I told myself it was networking. It was not. In the afternoon, I caught myself checking my phone too often. I kept it face down on my desk when co-workers walked by. I told myself that was just professional. I also told myself nobody had the right to judge me. I had needs. I had been patient. I had earned comfort. After work, I drove to the cafe. It smelled like burnt sugar and warm bread. People sat with laptops, trying to look busy. Marine was already there with her water bottle and her bright grin. She made everything sound like a game. She asked how things were at home. I said Graham was acting weird again. She asked what he did. I said he had this way of making me feel guilty for wanting normal attention. She asked if he was controlling. I said he was not controlling exactly, but he was watchful. Marin said I should stop shrinking myself to fit his moods. I agreed fast. I liked how that sounded. It made me the brave one. It made him the problem. I told her I was tired of being treated like a roommate. I told her I needed to feel chosen. I did not say that Graham did choose me in many ways, like picking up Lila every day and making sure bills were paid. Those things did not impress Marin, and they did not impress me in that moment. My phone buzzed again, and this time it was Ethan. Ethan Rourke was Graham's friend. They had known each other since their early 20s. Ethan worked in home renovations and always had dust on his boots. He had a loud laugh. He would look at me like I was the main person in the room. Graham's eyes usually looked tired, like he was thinking about the next task. Ethan's message was short. He asked if I was still near the river. He said he was in the area and could stop by. My stomach tightened in a way I told myself was excitement, not fear. Marin saw my face change and asked who it was. I said it was nobody. She asked if it was that friend. I said it was just someone Graham knew. She smiled like she already knew the ending. I told Marin Ethan was harmless. I said he was just friendly. I said Graham was overreacting about him. Marin said a husband who overreacted was usually hiding something. I liked that idea because it gave me a reason to be angry first. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. I did not invite Ethan inside the cafe. I told myself that would look bad, but I stepped outside to the sidewalk and pretended I needed air. The river breeze felt cold. My phone buzzed again, and I read the preview without opening the chat. Ethan wrote that he still remembered that year like it was a private joke. He wrote that he missed how I used to look at him. He wrote that he did not like seeing me sad with the wrong man. I should have felt shame. Instead, I felt power. I felt like someone saw me. I told myself Graham had pushed me into this feeling by being boring and distant. I told myself it was unfair to ask me to live in silence. I went back inside and told Marin I needed to go. She asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. She asked if Graham would be mad. I said Graham got mad at everything, which was not true. I said it with confidence anyway. When I got home, the kitchen was quiet. Graham was helping Lila with homework at the table. He looked up when I came in. He asked how my day was. I said it was busy. He asked why I was late. I said traffic and work calls. He glanced at my phone. I held it tighter without thinking. He asked who I was texting. I said it was my team. He asked why I looked nervous. I said he was imagining things and I was tired. Lila asked if we could have dessert. I said yes, because I wanted to look like the fun parent. Graham did not correct me. He just got a plate and cut fruit. He did it calmly. That calm made me angry because it did not give me a fight to win. After Lila went to bed, I stood at the sink and watched Graham wipe the counter. He asked if we could talk. I said we talked all the time. He asked if something was wrong between us. I said the problem was that he never tried, and that I was always the one carrying feelings. He asked what I needed. I said I needed respect. He asked what respect looked like to me. I said he should just know. He nodded again, quiet. He did not raise his voice. He did not accuse me. That made me feel both safe and trapped. When he went upstairs, my phone lit up in my hand again, and Ethan's name showed on the screen like a dare. The next day, I acted like nothing happened, but my body felt alert the whole time. I kept checking my phone, like I was waiting for a reward. Ethan did not send anything in the morning, which bothered me more than it should have. I told myself I was only annoyed because he was being careless. I told myself I was the careful one. At work, the office felt louder than usual. The open plan room had the same white lights and the same coffee smell, but I felt like people could see through me. I sat down and started typing faster than needed. I wanted to look busy. I wanted to look innocent. My manager, Colleen, walked past my desk twice. The second time, she stopped and asked if I had a minute. I said I did. She pointed to a small meeting room and went in first. Inside, she asked why my last campaign draft was late. I said I had family stress. She asked if I needed support. I said I was handling it, but my husband was making home tense. I did not say what I did. I just let the words hang, like she could imagine something worse. Colleen asked what I meant by tense. I said Graham was withdrawing and acting like I was the problem for asking normal things. She asked if I felt safe. I said yes, but I added that emotional pressure could still hurt. I said it in a way that made her eyebrows lift. I saw it work. I hated that I liked it. She asked if I could meet the next deadline. I said I could because I always delivered. I said I had results. I said, respect follows results, and I had results. Colleen nodded, but she also looked tired. She told me to keep her updated if things got worse at home. I said I would. When I left the room, I felt taller. I told myself I'd protected my reputation in advance. If Graham ever complained about me, people would already have a story to fit it. At lunch, I texted Marin that Colleen had asked about my situation. Marin wrote back that it meant I should document everything. I liked how that sounded, like I was the one under attack. I wrote back that I would not let Graham twist me into the villain. That afternoon, I opened my bank app for no reason and stared at the list of transactions. I acted like I was checking budgets. The truth was, I was checking if anything looked suspicious on my side. There were small charges that reminded me of Ethan's area, and I felt a quick pinch of fear. I told myself fear meant I was human, not guilty. When I got home, Graham was already there. He asked how work was. I said it was stressful. He asked if he could do anything. I said he could start by not judging me all the time. He asked what he judged me for. I said he judged me with his silence. He looked like he wanted to answer, but he did not. He only said he did not want fights in front of Lila. Lila ran in and showed me a drawing from school. It was a picture of 3 people holding hands. The one in the middle had a big smile. I told her it was beautiful. Graham told her he liked the colors. His voice was steady. He sounded like a good father, which made my anger look smaller, even to me. After dinner, I said I wanted to go to the gym. Graham asked if I wanted him to come too. I said no because I needed space. He asked what time I would be back. I said soon. He asked if he could trust soon. I told him he was being controlling again. He said he was only asking because Lila needed routine. I said he was using Lila to control me. He did not argue. He just said, okay. At the gym, the lobby was warm and smelled like rubber mats. Marin was there with 2 other women from her circle. They greeted me like I was a celebrity. Marin asked if I was free later for smoothies. I said maybe. One of the women asked if my husband was still being weird. I said yes. I said he was punishing me with silence like a child. They nodded like judges. Marin took a selfie with all of us. She held the phone high and told us to smile. I smiled. I knew I looked good in that lighting, and I needed that. Later, when I checked the posted photo, my stomach dropped. In the background, through the glass doors, there was a truck in the parking area. It was Ethan's work truck. I knew it by the dent near the tail light. It looked like proof, even if it was just a parked truck. Marin said it was funny and asked if Ethan had been there. I said I did not know. I said people were allowed to go places. She laughed and said Graham would probably lose it. I said Graham was already losing it, just quietly. That line got laughs. I pretended it was harmless. I finished my workout faster than usual. My mind kept spinning. I told myself it was only a coincidence. I told myself Ethan did jobs everywhere. I told myself Graham could not prove anything, even if he wanted to. When I got home, I found Graham on the stairwell landing, leaning on the rail like he had been waiting. He asked if the gym was busy. I said yes. He asked if Marin was there. I said yes. He asked if Ethan was there. I froze for a second and then I laughed, like it was a ridiculous question. I asked why he would ask that. He said he saw a tag notification on my phone earlier when it lit up. He said he noticed Ethan's truck in the photo background. He said he did not want drama, but he wanted to understand. I told him he was paranoid. I said he was scanning my life like an investigator. I said normal husbands did not do that. He asked if that meant Ethan was not around me at all. I said Ethan was his friend and sometimes everyone crossed paths. I said Graham was trying to make me feel guilty for nothing. He asked why I was so defensive if it was nothing. I said, because he always looked for dirt and I was tired. He did not raise his voice. He did not insult me. He only said he wanted peace in the home. He said he would not fight with me. He said he would focus on Lila. As he said it, his phone buzzed once in his pocket. He took it out. The screen showed a missed call with no caller ID. He did not answer. He tapped it away like it meant nothing. He looked at me and asked if I wanted to talk calmly tomorrow. I said there was nothing to talk about because I had done nothing wrong. He went downstairs and I followed, still angry. In the kitchen, he set his phone on the counter, face up for once. A notification popped up. It was a calendar block that said, "Meeting, personal." I only saw it for a second before he swiped it away. I asked what personal meeting he had. He said it was a private appointment. I asked with who. He said it did not matter. I said it mattered if he was planning something. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said he was planning to keep things stable for Lila. That night, after Lila was asleep, I tried to pull Graham into an argument again. I asked why he acted so calm, like he did not care. He asked why calm made me angry. I said because calm was fake, and he was doing it to punish me. He asked if I had ever thought my behavior could also hurt. I said he was turning it around on me. I said he was the one making the house cold. I said if I felt lonely, it was because he left me alone inside the marriage. He walked to the living room without answering. I heard a soft beep from his phone as he set it down on the side table. It sounded like an app starting or stopping. I stared at the screen, but he picked it up again and slid it into his pocket. I went to bed and told myself I was still in control. I told myself Graham could not do anything except sulk. I told myself my friends would back me, my mother would back me, and even Lila would stay close to me because I was the fun parent. But in the dark, I kept thinking about that missed call with no caller ID and the meeting personal reminder, and I did not like how steady his hands looked. Saturday came with sharp sunlight and a tight feeling in my chest. I told myself it was just stress. I told myself every wife felt trapped sometimes. Graham moved around the house like a person who had learned how to be quiet on purpose. He did laundry early. He cleaned the kitchen without asking for praise. He packed Lila's small snack bag like it was a routine he owned. He asked if we were still going to the playground before the birthday dinner. I said yes. He asked if Ethan would be there at dinner. I said it was not my job to manage his feelings. He said he was not asking about feelings. He said he wanted to know who would be around our child. I told him he was being dramatic. At the playground, the air smelled like wet leaves and cheap sunscreen. The other parents stood in loose groups. Marin was there, of course, with her bright voice and her quick eyes. She waved at me like we were in a show. I waved back like I was proud. Graham stayed near the bench. Lila ran to the swings. I stayed closer to the other moms, because that was where attention lived. Marin asked how my silent husband was doing. I said he was acting like a victim again. Marin said he probably wanted me to beg. I said I would never beg. One mom, a woman named Paige, asked why Graham looked tired. She said he seemed sad lately. I shrugged and said he always got moody when life was not centered on him. I said it like a fact, not a mean comment. Paige's face tightened, but Marin laughed, and that laugh felt like support. Graham called Lila over to drink water. He asked if she wanted to leave soon. Lila asked if Mom would push her on the swing again. I said I would, but then my phone buzzed. I checked it without thinking. Graham saw the glance. He asked if it was work. I said yes. It was not. I pushed Lila for a few minutes and pretended I was present. My mind kept drifting to Ethan, to what it felt like when someone looked at me like I mattered. I told myself Graham did not make me feel that way. I told myself that if a man ignored his wife emotionally, he should not be shocked when she found warmth elsewhere. The birthday dinner was at a family restaurant with long tables and loud lighting. It was one of those places that served too much food and expected everyone to smile. My sister Tam had reserved seats for our side, and she had invited people like it was a small event, not a meal. When we walked in, Marin and two others were already there. My mother, Nora, sat near the center like she was the queen of the table. Graham's mother, Ruth, sat farther down, quiet and watchful. Ethan arrived a few minutes later, smiling, and he greeted Graham like nothing was wrong. Graham nodded back, polite. I should have felt nervous with Ethan there. Instead, I felt bold. I had an audience, and I knew how to perform. Tam asked how the happy couple was doing. I said we were fine, but I added that Graham had been acting distant. Nora asked what I meant. I said he had been making the house tense with his silence. I said it like he was the one doing something to me. Graham asked me to keep family talk private. I said I was only being honest. He asked what honesty was for. I said it was for growth. I said it while smiling, like I was mature and he was not. Food came. People talked. I watched Graham. He ate slowly. He helped Lila cut her food. He made sure she drank water. He did not glare at Ethan. He did not accuse me. He looked like a man trying not to break in public. Marin leaned toward me and said she loved how calm Graham was, like he was a statue. I told her statues were nice to look at but had no warmth. Marin laughed too loudly, and Tam laughed with her. At some point, someone raised a phone and said they wanted a group picture. I leaned in fast, smiling wide. Graham leaned in too, but his smile was small and careful. Later, I would tell myself he looked guilty. In that moment, he only looked tired. After the picture, Nora asked Graham why he never posted about me online. Graham said he did not spend much time on social media. Nora said a man who was proud would show his wife. I said that was true, and I looked at Graham like he was failing a test. Graham asked why we were making this a public discussion. I said because I was always the one carrying the relationship, and it was time people understood. Ruth's eyes sharpened. She asked what I meant by carrying. I said I carried emotion, planning, and social life, while Graham hid behind work. Ruth said Graham worked hard for the family. I said working was easy compared to caring. Lila looked up from her plate and asked why everyone was talking about Dad like he was not there. For a second, the table went quieter. I felt a flash of guilt. Then I pushed it away. I told Lila Dad was fine, and adults were just talking. Graham told Lila she did nothing wrong and should keep eating. Ethan leaned in and said he hoped everyone could relax. He said birthdays should be happy. I wanted to laugh because he sounded like a peacemaker. I also liked that he spoke up. It made Graham look even more alone. After dinner, we walked to the parking garage. The air was colder and smelled like concrete. I expected Graham to finally snap away from the crowd. I expected anger. I expected something I could point to and call proof. Instead, he asked if I could talk for 2 minutes without joking. I said I was not joking. I said I was telling the truth. He asked why I needed an audience to tell it. I said because private talks with him went nowhere. He asked if I had been seeing Ethan outside group settings. I laughed again and asked if he planned to accuse me in a garage, like a movie. He said he did not want a movie. He said he wanted clarity. I told him clarity was that he was insecure. He looked at me for a long moment, then he took out his phone. He did not wave it at me. He did not show me anything. He only tapped the screen a few times, like he was saving something. I saw a quick glimpse of a note list with simple words like dates and places. I thought I saw the word witness, but it flashed too fast to be sure. I asked what he was doing. He said he was keeping track of important things, because he was tired of confusion. I told him that sounded unhealthy. He said he was not asking my opinion. Ethan came closer then, hands open like he was harmless. He asked if everything was okay. Graham said yes, everything was okay, and his voice was steady. Ethan said if I ever needed a break, he could drive me home sometime, just as a friend. He said it loud enough for Graham to hear, like it was a test. I felt my heart pound, but I kept my face calm. I told Ethan it was fine and I could handle my own life. Graham looked at Ethan and said nothing. That silence made Ethan shift his weight like he was not as confident anymore. On the drive home, Graham's phone alarm chimed. I heard the words, "Paper drop 7:15 p.m. flash," on the screen before he turned it away. I asked what paper drop meant. He said it was a reminder for an errand. I asked what errand. He said it was personal. I stared out the window and told myself he was trying to scare me. I told myself he wanted me to confess and beg. I told myself I would not give him that. But under my anger, a colder thought formed. I had one truth that could turn the whole table against him if I used it right. I could call it honesty. I could call it closure. I could call it his fault for neglect. And if I said it in the right moment, with the right people watching, I believed I could still control what everyone saw. Monday felt like a reset, but it was not a clean one. The house looked the same, yet everything inside it moved differently. Graham woke up early again. He made breakfast without asking what I wanted. He packed Lila's lunch with a careful calm that made me feel like a guest in my own kitchen. I told myself his calm was fake. I told myself he was doing it to make me doubt myself. I also told myself I would not doubt. I had made choices for a reason. I had needs. I had waited long enough. That afternoon, Ruth invited us to her house for coffee. She did not say it was about anything, but I knew it was. Graham said we could go for a short time because Lila liked seeing her grandparents. I agreed because I did not want to look like the difficult one. Ruth's living room smelled like lemon cleaner and old fabric. Derek sat in his chair with the TV muted, watching us like we were a weather report. Ruth offered me coffee and asked how work was. I said work was fine. She asked how marriage was. I said marriage was complicated, like that word was a shield. Graham stayed polite. He helped Lila with a puzzle on the rug. He looked normal, which annoyed me because I wanted Ruth to see him as the problem. I wanted her to pressure him to change, not to watch him like he was the stable one. Ruth asked why I looked tense. I said I had been carrying a lot. She asked what I was carrying. I said I carried emotion and planning and social life, and Graham carried only work. Derek made a small sound, like he did not agree. Ruth asked Graham if he thought that was fair. Graham said he understood I felt lonely. He said he wanted peace in the home. He said he did not want to discuss private issues in front of family. He kept his voice even. That steadiness made my words sound messy. I leaned into it. I said his silence was emotional punishment. I said he made me feel watched and judged. Ruth asked if Graham ever raised his voice or threatened me. I said no, but I said his quiet was its own kind of control. I watched Ruth's face. She did not soften the way I hoped. Ruth said she did not like public humiliation, and she said it did not help a child. She said she had seen me speak about Graham, like he was not a person. I told her she was biased because he was her son. She said being his mother did not make her blind. Derek said the only thing that mattered was what kept Lila safe and steady. That word steady hit me like a slap. It was a simple word, but it sounded like a verdict. While I spoke, my eyes kept catching small details. On the side table, Graham's phone lit up once, with a reminder that only said a place and a time. He turned it face down without panic. In the hallway, I saw a folder half tucked under a stack of mail. A label peeked out. It said, Utilities. Another one behind it said, Household. It looked ordinary, but it made my stomach twist, because Graham was not the type to label things unless he was building a system. When we left, Ruth hugged Lila longer than usual. She barely touched my shoulder. In the car, I asked Graham why his mother was acting cold. He said she was worried about Lila. I said she was trying to blame me. He said he was not blaming anyone. He said he wanted to keep things calm. I told myself calm was his weapon now. The next morning, I went to the school pickup line earlier than normal. I told myself it was for Lila. The truth was, I wanted to see what Graham was doing. I wanted to catch him slipping, saying something wrong, showing anger. I wanted evidence for my story. Graham's car was already there. He sat in the driver's seat with his hands on the wheel, waiting. Lila's backpack was on the seat beside him, zipped and ready, like he had already planned the afternoon. When Lila came out, she ran to his car first. That bothered me more than it should have. Lila got into my car later and asked if Dad was mad at me. I said no. She asked why Dad did not joke with me anymore. I said Dad was stressed and tired. She asked if Dad would leave the house. I told her good fathers stayed. I said it like a rule, like I could lock him in place with the right sentence. At home, Graham was in the spare room for a while. The door was mostly closed. I heard the printer start, then stop. A blank sheet slid out into the tray. I heard him pull it back in and try again. I smelled toner, faint and dry. When I asked what he was doing, he said he was organizing some personal things. He did not look up. Later, when he walked past the kitchen, I saw his laptop for a second. A spreadsheet was open. I could not read the title, but I saw clean columns and dates. He minimized it when he noticed me. I laughed and asked if he was budgeting my life now. He said he was planning for stability. He used that word again. That afternoon, I went to the supermarket to grab dinner supplies. I told myself I was being normal. I told myself nobody could accuse a normal woman buying groceries. At checkout, I tapped my card and waited for the beep. Instead, there was a different sound and a little pause. The cashier's face went neutral. She asked me to try again. I tried again. It declined. My cheeks burned. People behind me shifted. I forced a laugh and said the machine was acting up. The cashier said it happened sometimes. I pulled out another card, one I rarely used, and it worked. I walked out holding bags that suddenly felt heavier. In the car, I opened my bank app with shaking hands. There was a notification about a spending limit on our joint account. It did not say much, but the change was clear. I told myself Graham was trying to control me financially. I told myself he wanted to trap me and punish me. I did not let myself consider the other reason, the one that sounded too responsible to be called revenge. When I got home, I confronted him in the kitchen. I said my card declined and it embarrassed me. He asked which card. I told him the joint one. He said he had set a limit for household spending, and he said it was temporary. He said he wanted to keep bills predictable. He said if I needed something for Lila, I should tell him and he would handle it. I asked if he thought I was a child who needed permission. He said no. He said he was protecting the household. I said he was punishing me for having a social life. He said he was not punishing me. He said he was making boundaries because things had become unclear. The word boundaries sounded like a wall. That night, I told Nora about the card. I said Graham was starting to control money. Nora said he was trying to scare me. She said I should not let him act like a victim while he played quiet games. Tam called later and said the same. Marin sent a message that told me to stand my ground and stop being soft. I looked at my phone and felt my anger rise again, warm and sharp. I told myself I had been patient for years. I told myself I deserved to be seen. I told myself Graham brought this on himself by making me feel small. Upstairs, Lila brushed her teeth and asked if we were still a family. I said yes, because I needed that to be true, even if it was only a sentence. Graham stood behind her in the doorway and waited until she finished. He did not argue with me. He only told Leela it was bedtime and he would read to her. As he walked away, I saw a new key on his ring, shiny and unused. It clicked against the others with a clean sound. I watched him go into the spare room again. I heard a soft computer chime, like a file upload finishing, and then the house went quiet in a way that did not feel peaceful at all. By Wednesday morning, the house felt like a place where every sound mattered. Graham moved through the bedroom with the same calm face, but his actions were different. He did not ask me what I wanted. He did not try to fix my mood. He folded his shirts in a neat stack and placed them in a soft travel bag like it was a normal chore. I asked what he was doing. He said he was organizing. I asked organizing for what? He said he wanted the week to run smoothly. I told him he was being dramatic. He asked me not to call him names. I said I was not calling him names. I said I was describing reality. He zipped the bag halfway, then stopped and looked at the closet for a moment. I heard a small click from the hall, like a drawer locking. I pretended I did not hear it. I told myself it was just him being odd. I told myself he was trying to scare me, to make me feel like I was losing the home. Lila came into the room with her hairbrush and asked if Dad would do her hair again. Graham said yes. I watched him braid it carefully. I felt that sharp feeling again, like jealousy mixed with something I did not want to name. I told myself it was annoyance. I told myself he was doing it to look like the perfect father. When Graham finished, Lila hugged him. She looked at me and asked if we were still going to the community hall after school. I said yes. I said it with too much energy, like I was forcing a smile onto my own life. The community hall event was supposed to be simple. It was a neighborhood fundraiser with crafts, food trays, and too many parents in one room. Marin had convinced me to come because she said people needed to see me unbothered. She said if I looked strong, nobody would question me. That sounded right to me. After work, I met Marin and Tam at the hall entrance. The place smelled like paper plates and cheap perfume. People stood in small circles holding cups. There was a table with sign-up sheets and a donation jar. The noise was steady, like a crowded school gym. Marin asked where Graham was. I said he would come with Leela. Tam asked if he was still doing his silent act. I said yes. I said he was punishing me because I asked for basic respect. Tam rolled her eyes and said he needed to grow up. Marin said men use silence when they had nothing real to offer. When Graham walked in with Lila, several people looked over. I noticed it right away. He held Lila's hand and carried a small tote with her jacket and water bottle. He looked like a man who had his life in order. That annoyed me because it made my story harder. Marin waved him over with a grin that was too bright. Graham nodded politely and kept moving toward the craft tables. Marin leaned close to me and said he was acting like a saint. I said saints were usually hiding something. Marin laughed and repeated it to someone else. I let her. We moved through the hall like a group. I made sure to greet people first. I told quick stories about my work, about Lila's school, about being busy. I wanted to look normal. I wanted to look like the stable one. I also wanted Graham to feel like an outsider. At one point, a woman I barely knew asked if everything was okay at home. I said things were tense because Graham had been withdrawing. I did not say why. I let her imagine. She said she was sorry. I nodded like I was brave. Graham heard some of it. He did not confront me. He only asked if we could keep personal talk away from strangers. I said he was trying to control my voice. He said he was trying to protect Lila. I said Lila was fine, and he was being sensitive. Lila stood between us holding a paper craft, and she looked at the floor like she wanted to disappear. Marin pulled out her phone and started filming short clips for social media. She asked people to smile. Tam leaned in and made jokes. Someone else raised a phone too. It felt like a crowd, even though it was just neighbors. I smiled anyway, because I knew the camera loved a confident face. Later, outside near the hall steps, I saw Ethan's name pop up on my phone again. He had sent a message that asked if I was okay. He added a little line about how Graham did not deserve me. I felt the same rush of power, and I hated that I needed it. I did not answer Ethan, not then. I told myself that was self-control. I also told myself it did not matter, because the past was the past. That was a lie I used like a blanket. When the event ended, Graham said he wanted to take a walk by the river with Lila, just for air. I said I would come too. He did not argue. Lila walked between us, holding both our hands at first. Then she let go of mine and kept only Graham's hand. I told myself it was because he had promised her a snack. The riverside promenade was cool and open. The water looked dark. People passed by with dogs and coffee cups. The city lights made long lines on the river. It was not romantic. It felt like a place where truth could slip out because there was no furniture to hide behind. Graham asked if we could talk for a few minutes while Lila looked at the ducks near the railing. I said yes, but I told him I was tired of being blamed. He said he was not blaming me. He said he wanted clarity because the home had become confusing. He asked if there was anything I had to tell him about Ethan. I laughed once, sharp. I asked why he was stuck on Ethan. He said he noticed patterns and he did not want to guess anymore. He said guessing made him feel sick. I told myself this was the moment. I had carried the secret for years, and it had lived inside me like a private weapon. I had told myself it protected my family. That was only half true. The other half was that it protected me. I said I was tired of being watched like I was a criminal. I said if he wanted truth, he could have it. He asked what I meant. I told him that years ago, when things were bad between us, I slept with Ethan once. I said it like a confession, but my tone was almost proud, like I was proving a point. He asked if I was serious. I said yes. He asked about timing. He asked if it lined up with when Lila was conceived. I felt my throat tighten, but I did not stop. I told him it did. I told him Lila was Ethan's child, not his. For a moment, I expected a reaction that would give me control. I expected shouting. I expected him to grab his hair or beg me to take it back. I expected the kind of messy pain I could point to and call proof that he was unstable. He did none of that. He went still. His face changed, but not into anger. It changed into something flat, like a door closing. He looked past me toward Lila, who was still by the railing, safe and busy. He swallowed once. Then he nodded, slow. He asked if anyone else knew. I said no, but I said it fast, and it was not fully true. I had hinted to Tam years ago in a joke, and I had let Marin guess around it, but I did not admit that. I told myself it did not count. Graham asked if Ethan knew. I said yes. He asked how long Ethan knew. I said a long time. Graham looked down at the ground for a second, then back up at me. He asked why I stayed. I said because I kept the family together. I said because I did the hard work. I said because he left me lonely. He asked if I understood what this could do to Lila. I said Lila would be fine if he stayed calm. I said the real danger was him abandoning her out of ego. I said that because it made my guilt feel smaller. Graham did not argue with my logic. He only said he would not make a scene in public. He said he would not shout. He said he would not punish Lila for adult choices. I asked if he was leaving me. He looked at me for a long second and said he would handle it properly. He said it like a boundary, not a threat. He said it with no anger at all. I thought Ethan's properly line was another one of his calm threats that meant nothing. I went to work like normal and told myself I would win the week with a smile. I even texted Cassidy that Ethan was finally scared enough to behave. She sent back laughing emojis. At noon, my coworker Mina asked if I could run downstairs with her to the office tower lobby because she needed to pick up a package. I said sure, because I liked being helpful in public. The lobby was bright and full of footsteps and echo. People stood near the security desk with coffee cups and badges. A man in a plain jacket stepped toward me and asked if I was Dorigen Ames. I said yes and asked who he was. He said he had documents for me and asked me to confirm my identity. I said he was being dramatic and asked if Ethan put him up to it. He did not answer that. He just handed me an envelope and said I had been served. Mina froze like her shoes were glued to the floor. I opened the envelope fast, like speed could turn it into a joke. The first page had my name and Ethan's name. It was a divorce filing with temporary orders listed in simple terms. I saw words about a temporary parenting schedule, a temporary rule for the home, and temporary limits on moving money. It said communication should be through formal channels and that exchanges should happen at set times. My face went hot. I looked up and saw Ethan across the lobby near the glass doors. He was not hiding. He was not smirking. He looked tired and steady. I walked toward him and asked if he was proud of humiliating me. I said he was proving he was controlling. I said he was trying to punish me because he could not handle my best friend. He said he was not punishing me. He said he was protecting the kids and protecting facts. He said he documented the pattern, the posts, the public jokes, the late nights, and the lies. He said he would not argue in hallways or online anymore. I told him it was one mistake and that he was overreacting. I said he pushed me into it by acting jealous. I said any woman would break under that pressure. He said he would not debate my reasons. He said the process would. He said he would follow the temporary plan starting today. Then Mara walked in, calm, holding Piper's coat and Noah's backpack. Noah stood close to Ethan and did not look at me. Piper asked where we were going. Mara said it was time to go with Dad now. A clerk at the counter called out the first exchange time, and my stomach dropped when I heard the word today.